program, I think Laurent's not presenting. It's just Vickel and
yes. Yes, so we did some work together, but because I'm organizer, I stepped down, and they would just present what we're doing also in terms of education and mobile technology. So they would present that paper. And Tom is there. Look at that.
Right, finally.
Yeah. Yeah, just in front of the world. Look at that. Fantastic.
Yes, yes, where we should be. How's Melbourne?
Good. It's meant to be very hot, but I think it's cooled off out there, luckily.
Yeah, right. That's Melbourne for you.
Absolutely.
Good coffee, though.
Yeah, Tommy's a coffee addict.
All right. So we're ready to go when you are. So if you want to make a start.
Okay. Well, we've got Vickel here as well. So.
We just need to check. Do you have any slides that you want us to show simultaneously while you talk, or?
I'll just try screen sharing and see how that goes.
Okay, great.
If it doesn't work, then we've just tweeted the link to the notes anyway.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so shall we get underway then?
Yep. There you go.
Cool. Okay. All right. We'll just introduce Vickel, my co-presenter. You can see his little head down the bottom there. There he is, yes. And of course Laurent, who is going to be our lovely assistant today. So I'm just going to try some screen sharing, and hopefully you can see my notes. So let's just do this. And there we go. So hopefully you see a QR code.
We do.
You do? Excellent. So those who have got a QR code reader might want to quickly scan that. As I said, I've just tweeted that to #MINA2015 as well, the link. So this is an Evernote, and we've just got some notes that we'll be flicking through today. And we'll double team a little bit so that I'll hand back over to Vickel shortly. For those of you who don't have a QR code scanner, just below that is the short link. So I'll just bring that up now. There it is. It's case sensitive. is.gd/JH O, I think it is, 9 XG. So what we want to talk about today was really, I guess, the crossover between mobile learning, Altmetrics, and the Scholarship of Technology Enhanced Learning, and just sort of see how mobile and mobile learning really can enhance your profile as a researcher. So that's kind of where we're at today. So we just want to give a brief broad overview, some examples, and a bit of a framework that we've been developing. So the first thing there is called H-index. I'm not sure if people have heard about it too much, but H-index was developed about 2004, which really gives sort of a combination overview of average publications that you've published and average citations per publication. So it gives like an impact factor for you as a researcher. And then of course the two main, or two of the biggest publishing companies have their own impact factors. So we have Scopus, which is owned by Elsevier, and Web of Science, owned by Thomson Reuters, and then of course Google Scholar. And Google Scholar is obviously a bit more open, so I'm just going to show you, where is it? Google Scholar. Got too many things open here. Let's just click on the link to bring that up. So when you log into your Google account and you go to Google Scholar, you'll see there's a link there, My Citations. But click on that just as an example. You can see you can associate whatever papers that you've written in Google. It gives you a citation count, and it gives you a nice little interactive graph. You can see how many times over the last few years papers have been cited, and it gives you that H-index. It's just a bit more overview, a broader overview than what you get from Scopus or from Web of Science, because they really just focus on their own publications. And then of course this leads us to Researcher ID. So Scopus has an ID, and Researcher ID is owned by Thomson Reuters, and you can search for researches for yourself or other people and see what impact factor is. So there's Thomson routers, and you can create your own login and search, etc. You can search for researches or publications, and we'll give you an impact factor and citations. One of the newest ones is OrcID, which is really it's much more open, and it tries to bring together these other two main ones. So it's the Open Research and Contributor ID. And if I have a quick look up here, you can see I've already opened it here. So you can associate with your OrcID your researcher ID, your Scopus ID, and then you can add another website. So I've added in here Mendeley, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, etc. And you can pull in from those databases automatically, like I've done here, your outputs from Scopus, from Web of Science, and bring them all into one sort of consolidated profile. So it's quite nice, and you can add those from EndNote, etc. as well. And then, of course, we have the growth of sort of social research networks. So going beyond, I guess, the traditional journal publications, you've got things like ResearchGate, and where you can rate your output compared to other people. You can share your publications. You can be part of a research network interested in specific topics, etc. You can get stats. You can see how many people are downloading your publications, etc. And get awards, etc., etc. So it's very much a sort of interactive network. Academia.edu, LinkedIn, of course, and Mendeley, which is kind of an interesting crossover between something like EndNote, which is a bibliographic tool, and also a social network. Depending on your point of view, it got unfortunately bought by Elsevier in 2012. So people have questions over how open it is now compared to how it used to be. Then, of course, we have the growth of open access publications. So beyond your traditional journals, which have a paid subscription model, and these are really starting to have an impact. You can see this in the Google Scholar rankings, and I've just done this for educational technology journals, where you can see in the top 10, 6 of those are actually open access journals. So we've got the Educational Technology Research and Development, AJET, IEEE, Transactions and Learning Technologies, Turkish Online Journal, and the International Review of Research. They're all open access, which means that you don't have to pay to read those publications. And so it opens you up to a whole wider audience. And we're kind of getting now towards the intersection with mobile, and I'll hand it over to Vickel in just a sec. But there are some things to be aware of, and there's a lovely blog here, Scholarly OA. You've probably had emails from publishers wanting you to publish in their fantastic journal, and they'll publish them for you next week for the sum of £90 or whatever. So this is a blog which goes over and tries to warn people about predators. Basically, you know, a lot of journals that are perhaps coming out of places like India and China that really are sort of bogus or are not actually that academically sound, even though they purport to be open. So you've got to be wary of those. So just going to hand back over to Vickel, and he'll take us through on to Altmetrics.
Thank you, Tom. I'll just quickly choose the screen. Hang on, the entire screen. I'll go with that. Right, and all right. So Tom started talking. Feel free to jump in, Tom. But one side Tom started talking about was the social media aspect of this whole publishing side of academia. So before this, and I guess we strongly believe that this was the missing link, because quite a lot of things we talk about now actually ends up on social media, like Twitter, blogging, and things like that, which previously there wasn't a way to actually see what was happening or what others were talking or saying about your paper. So this is where Altmetrics comes in, and so what it does is it actually in real time gathers statistics on what people are saying or talking about with regards to the paper which you have published. So like Twitter, what they're saying on Twitter, Facebook, blogging, Mendeley, and Reddit. So here at IUT, what we use is a research element, which pretty much is what most of the universities use to track the staff in their publication. If you want to use Altmetrics, there's a booklet. It's free to use. So it looks something like this. And if I actually wanted to show you an example, let me see if I can do, if we go to Google Scholar. I go to my publication, and say for example, if you're reading a paper and you wanted to find out the Altmetrics, which is the social media side of the publication side of academia, if you have got the booklet, if you click on it, it basically runs an algorithm. Oh yep, I just need to open the paper. There we go, and if I click on the booklet, so because it's not in their database, it can't find any stats. But if I go back to the examples we have, say for example this one here, so we've got the links, and the first link, if I click on it, it opens this up. Sorry, close this, that paper there. So what you see is the score, which is 31, and on the left hand side, you basically start to get all the other sort of stats. So over here, what you can see is the paper has been mentioned 34 times on Twitter, and 25 people actually have it in their library in Mendeley. If I actually wanted to find out who these people are on Twitter, all I have to do is click on the summary side and on the tag tab. And what you get are people who actually people who have tweeted about the paper on Twitter. So that's one example. And if I go back, you also get other stats, like in the summary page, you get all research outputs. That's the number of research output. And you also get the ranking for your own paper. So outputs from research in learning technology, our paper is that paper, Riding the Wave of BYOD, is 25 out of 153 publications, which are very similar. Now another example, and this actually has got a bit more stats, because again, if you look on the left hand side, it says that we have got 40 people who have tweeted about the paper, 1 person on Facebook, and then we have got stats on Google+, and 10 people have it in the Mendeley library. And if I wanted to find out who these 5 people are on Google+, again, I can just simply click on it and it will load up the stats and who these people are. So from here, I can actually go and visit their profile and things like that. And the last example we have here is this paper. So you can see it has collected stats on the blog. 1 person blogged about it, 23 tweets, 1 video upload, so it also tracks videos as well. 70 people have it in Mendeley, and 2 people cite you like. And you also get stats, as I explained before, what's the ranking overall with regards to the journal you've published in, with regards to the age of the paper and other papers which were published around about the same time, and outputs with similar age from British Journal of Educational Technology, 3 out of 114, so which is actually pretty good.
So I think what we're sort of trying to say here is that by using these tools, which are actually all have mobile apps, so Twitter has a mobile app, Mendeley does, etc., you can get this much more interaction, much more better idea of the impact of your paper and the conversation that it's generating, your research, via these mobile types of tools.
Yeah, and we think that it's also capturing the people who are actually on their mobile moving around. That's where they're reading, tweeting, and things like that. So it's almost capturing the mobility of the reader as we go along, making sense of what we've written and what others are saying.
So I think we'll flick down to the framework now. So I'll just start screen sharing here again. Just very quickly to sort of wrap up. Hopefully you can see that Evernote notes there. So what we're sort of looking at is this link with the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, and with technology, and in this case mobile technology, it's the Scholarship of Technology Enhanced Learning. and just embedding this within sort of an educational design framework, we can align with Boyer's original model of 4 modes of scholarship: the scholarship of discovery, integration, application, and teaching and learning within an educational framework where it's about informing your research, the actual enactment of that research, the evaluation within the local impact, and then the broader impact, which is your scholarship for technology enhanced learning. And I think this can be a very powerful way of really starting to see what sort of impact your mobile projects are having. And we have one example there of how we've used this framework to design a community of practice. We've called it Mossamelt. You can have a look at that. We're pretty much running out of time here. But as we scroll down, you can see, if you want to see some examples, myself and Vickel's walk ID. And then we have a few references that we've included there if you want to do any further reading. So I think that's kind of our time, really. And I guess we'll just sort of throw it open to questions.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you to the lovely Laurent.
Yeah, thank you. You may need to come down, I think, yes, the try and through method.
Yes. Live performance. The question is coming, physically speaking.
Hi. We just heard today in the keynote about how software can be empowering and also disciplining. How would you relate that to your work and all the softwares that become relevant for academia?
Well, yes, I see the empowering of Altmetrics and the link with mobile, and that instead of having to wait several years in most cases to get citation counts to measure the impact of your research, you can get the impact of it on social media and the conversation it's generating instantly. And that's the beauty of Altmetrics. So it's not necessarily an alternative to traditional impact factors, but it adds a whole lot more value to your traditional impact factors that you can then use as proof to show the impact of what you're doing within the field.
Yeah, and I think it's also another way of engaging with the people who are actually reading your stuff. So just as you could find out who people are, people have said on Twitter, it's another way of actually engaging with them, because otherwise you don't really find out. Like Tom said, it's too late.
Yeah, so it allows you to have a two-way conversation about your research.
Okay, any other questions? One more question before SIF presentation? Yeah. So here the key factor about mobile is about the immediacy and ubiquity, and in terms of sussing out who is your reader and who is looking at your work basically as a researcher.
Yeah, and I think it's just that powerful thing of not just seeing Twitter and these other social networks as social only, because they can have a very powerful, research impact, and that's the message that we're just trying to get across.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Stay with us. We've got one more presentation to go. Sif is here.
Okay, have fun.
All right, see you.
You don't want to hear about Sif presentation? It was so fast.